why.
And we should just
They
take
put-
these out into the parking lot and set them on fire.
I was gonna say, put them in a snowbank and let them get run over.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I know you're.
Hello, everybody. I'm remote.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
I'd rather be there. Let's put it that way.
Where are you?
At work.
Oh,
Fancy environment.
Second body, I'm sorry.
no.
The truck's in the parking lot again.
I know, I saw that right away. I was gonna drive up Sunday and see if it was here.
I don't, you, maybe you, I don't know, you've been busy, but at the, I'll talk about it in a minute, but several school committee members don't want them to give us $1 million back in E&D.
Does that surprise you?
Well, no, but he's sticking fast.
He doesn't have a choice, unfortunately.
All right, I'll bring the meeting to order at 6:01 PM. Ted is coming in the back door right now. We have Ludwig on, I think that's Zoom.
Yes, it's Zoom.
Zoom it is.
Zoom it is. All right, so to bring,
Oh, you have one, good. I wanted to make sure you knew what it was.
so we went to the, several of us was down at the, high school the other night. And this is, I'm taking 4 budget discussions, and we are a little less than, the projected amount, a little bit. They're gonna push forward with about a 4.58% budget increase on their end, which it makes us like 7.5 something, and we, Heather and Seth budgeted 8. So we're gonna be a little bit less. But it's gonna be an interesting sled. They had mentioned, I can say that they wanted to keep as much of they wanted to give us the E&D money. They wanted to give back to the towns $1 million approximately, because that would bring them to 2% versus the 3% that they were before. And there was started to be some discussion, but I don't think everybody on the school committee necessarily agreed with that philosophy. Superintendent was hanging in strong. That was the part of the meeting that we really couldn't participate in. And then after that, we got to speak. Every town went around, Holden and Paxton, Princeton. Sterling didn't have anything to say because they've met their goal, and they got like a 2% with everybody else, and that's fine for them. So Sterling's not going to be in any fights with us. I think that Holden is definitely an override. Rutland is definitely an override. Paxton is most likely an override, and Princeton hasn't decided quite which way they're going. Anything else, Tommy, that you remember from that meeting? That was
about it.
Ludwig. Do you?
There's one thing I picked up on in the presentation, and it's interesting to note. So one of their things that is projected to go down significantly in terms of operational expenditures next year is external paying tuition for kids to go outside of district for special education, and I think that's an interesting development. Is it's from kids aging out, and I think investing in special education to prevent those external tuition monies because we can't serve the students' needs is a good way to prevent those line items from growing back. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. I picked up on it. I don't know that it's like that much money that we're talking about, but I do want to point it out to you guys in case it flew under the radar. There's a little bit of a trade-off there, and it's worth spending because he did increase suggested spending on special education, and I think that could pay off.
Okay. It could. I don't know if it's gonna be huge, but it's definitely something to start, right? I mean,
Right. I'm just thinking that the philosophy behind it is correct, which is to serve the kids in the community and also prevent us from having to send a bunch of money outside.
Okay, but the downside is if we're gonna start doing that in-house, the reason why we had to send them out is because we didn't have the staff for it.
Right. So I think, you got to be careful about that. You can't do every last thing, but I think if you're careful about it, it probably makes some sense. But if you can't just say there will be none because that's a crazy undertaking also.
all right. So in regards to, I want to search for Heather's. Can I see yours just for a second? 'Cause I'm sure you can find it in a second.
Not necessarily.
I spoke with Heather. She has another meeting and she wasn't able to attend. She just would like us to know that she is not in favor of revolving accounts for these because we would take away money that would come in as free cash and keep it in there. Right at this time,
That was for the building and the inspectors.
yes, or any of those she's like, right now, she said, we're not in a position to have, we would have to fund it for 150 grand and we don't have the extra money. So,
Well, I think it goes beyond that, right? The question that was raised in the meeting with at the time was, is it legal for those funds to go into general fund? And it is, right? That's a very important part that she confirmed. We don't have to use it in a revolving fashion. So that's a super important conclusion.
so I don't know what we all feel about revolving funds. Does anyone have any?
I think I'm jumping to, okay, so if we say that this is not gonna be, let's say this specifically for the inspection department, for the building department. But what happens if we have to go to a cut budget and we don't have the people in the office to do the work, to do all the inspections, and people have paid their fees to have their inspections? And so I think that that's where we could be in a little bit of a pickle.
Okay,
Well, and so I also see it the same way as you because we keep hearing about how ambulance revenue should go into revolving fund to fund the ambulance and everyone's woo-hoo-hoo. Well, then it should be the same for the building department. If we're talking one, we should talk the others because they're all providing their revenue. I guess that was my
Yeah,
question.
right. But the idea is essentially to protect staff from cuts, which I understand if it's revenue producing, right? We have to be strategic with when we talk about a cut budget, where those cuts occur. But I don't think revolving funds is the answer, because if you know, we do use that money. We have to use that money.
We're not saying that we're not, it's just that if we're
Going
gonna.
to the right place.
Right, we're just saying that if, you know, Harold said we could bring that in and do it that way, and yes, it's gonna create $150,000 less in free cash, but
We've never done that. That's never been done in the budget before.
I agree.
Number one.
Yep.
Number two, the excess funds, or whatever the right word for them is, has always come in, because that's part of the revenue for the town because of previous infrastructure that's put there from these new whatever. And the only reason I said what I said at the meeting several weeks ago when we talked about it was because I just said the same thing you just said and what you just said. I don't think the staff should, they way more than pay for themselves. They shouldn't be cut. They need to be there to do what they're supposed to be doing. And that's the only reason I said that, well, if that's the case, if that's the only way to do it, then there should be one. But I'm not in favor of adding any more revolving funds if we don't need to.
I agree, but even what good would it, even if we did it, what good would it do us for this coming year? Because doesn't that have to be voted on at town meeting anyway?
It's not gonna
So it
change
wouldn't
it.
help us
Wouldn't help
for
us this year.
this coming year.
no.
Well, that would be for the next budget. We'd have to
Right.
vote it at the annual town meeting, right?
But it wouldn't help us till 28, fiscal 28.
No, we could
no.
vote it in and have it done for
It'd be May for
Oh.
July 1st.
Okay.
July 1st.
And I don't see
The
what,
problem, my understanding is the problem with the revolving fund beyond the initial amount, that it then becomes very difficult to use excess revenues for other purposes around town, or essentially impossible.
Right, because the revolving is supposed to be for what you're doing.
Well, and so what's the point of that? Then we're just gonna like reduce what we charge for ambulance and reduce that
Exactly.
revenue stream?
No, that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't do that, obviously.
No, but just remember, last year, it was brought up that we were going to cut the hours of the planner, and the remainder could be paid for from the revolving fund. So, and we're taking money from the Board of Health's revolving fund to pay. And those are all general fund expenses. And we're taking those, because there's something from the Board of Health, and is it?
That was salary, that was Lynn's salary.
admin salary.
Right. So that's the thing. I'm like, so we're kind of talking out of both sides, and I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like the town clerk's office is never going to generate enough revenue, right? So, like, that's not right. We can't just say, all right, all departments need to figure out how to fund themselves by charging for stuff.
Okay, so I guess I'll say what I said at the beginning and ask a question. If we don't have people staffing those positions, but we're required to perform the services that people have asked or paid fees to do through permitting, what do we do when we can't fulfill the requirements for inspections? How are we going to pay for that if they're not in the building?
For what they paid is right. For what the
Right.
people paid is right. Yep. I don't know.
And some of them, I believe Harold said he has a time limit. So if he can't make that time limit, then it's automatically assumed that it's accepted.
Yes. There's some of the.
So we
some
could
of the
have
professional
We
licenses.
could have issues.
bad inspections.
So here's the question then. We put 150, this, what it says on here, 150K annually, we have to fund it the first time, or do
I don't
we?
think that we do. I would imagine that sometimes they do, but I think it's with much smaller amounts, right? I think. But there's got to be a look back 5 years that say, in the first quarter, we typically get this much money in
We have to put something in to open it, and then
Correct.
as all those things go in, it builds it up.
And does it cover the first quarter of expenses? Not the whole year?
Right, it's not gonna,
All right, but when does the money come back to the town, or is it just going to keep accumulating at infinitum in that account?
it stays in that
initial
account.
10 grand, would it ever come back?
No, I know, but where does it say you have to put money in to start with?
That's just how it works.
No, where does it say that? I haven't, we didn't do that like with the storm.
When we had the revolving fund for ZBA, we had to fund it.
Oh, because they had
Didn't
no.
fund it? I thought we funded it.
So at the, one of our more recent town meetings, we established a revolving fund for the Conservation Commission.
Yep.
But they can't start collecting funds until they adopt their regulations, so we have the account, but it's unfunded right now. At the next town meeting, we would then set the maximum spending limit. So we set the spending limits, but it doesn't mean you have to fund it.
Right.
Right, doesn't mean you
So
have to
can
fund
I-
it, but it's not
I
gonna
s-
help save Harold's salary if we don't fund it.
But
Right.
they
So
would start
can somebody explain to me what
first.
happens?
Speak up.
Go ahead, sorry.
What happens?
What happens for what?
What happens as these funds continue to accumulate? Because we know that the expenditures in these departments are lower than their revenues. So what happens over time? It just keeps accumulating. We've got $1 million in the ambulance revolving fund. We've got $1 million in the inspections fund, and
Well,
the rest of the staff gets cut because, you know, we don't have any money, and there it sits.
We set a spending limit.
Spending limit.
And the rest of the
I don't know,
funds
that's a
just
good, that's
stay
a question
where
I
they
asked.
are?
How does the revolving fund work? I don't know where you looked that up. Let's see
But if
what
the
it's
town
under.
needs money, is it then, can the town request that they use the money in that revolving fund for a salary or something? I mean, we're doing that now,
We're
or is,
forcing it now.
But it has to be within the purview of that revolving fund, right? That's the problem.
That's
So
correct.
you'd have a perpetually accumulating revolving fund that keeps growing, and at the same time, we don't have money to fund, you know, DPW.
See, I don't know the answer to that one. That's the question.
Okay, so I mean, that would be really bad, right? We can all agree that that would be bad.
because that would actually encourage a town to create revolving funds to just keep the money in there and forever.
Well, I
Well,
understand
it-
both sides. I guess
I do
I'm just
too.
thinking about for this year, if we go to a cut budget, what's the plan? Do we just have, I don't know what the
Well,
plan
the plan,
is.
what we were presented is what it was. There's a straight down the column cut of people.
Yep.
Right.
That's what was presented.
So do
to
we,
us
as a group,
So far.
one thing we might need to consider is that we recommended that is not the approach to take.
Exactly. I think
This year.
Karen mentioned that last time also. We want more strategic cuts because it doesn't make sense to cut positions that generate revenue.
So
And that's correct.
It's not always
That's what I
about the
said, too.
generation of the revenue. Sometimes it's just about doing the right thing. Because we owe it to the taxpayers to get inspections for the fees that they're paying, not just automatically rubber stamp them. I mean, in that case, it's not always about revenue. Sometimes it's about doing what's right.
The only thing is, you're right on that fine line of playing favorites. You're playing people against people.
So,
And I think the way they did it was taking 25% out of everybody right now, whether we agree or disagree. That's what they did, so everything is fair.
I thought you said 20, yeah. I think it was 22.
The point is, in the end, right,
It says 25.
Oh, 25? Oh. I thought that was on the budget sheet said so.
Could be.
Yeah.
The other one might say 22, this one says 25, this one says 25.
But so,
But just to add real quick in there, I think the idea of, like I said, I like to look at what the regulation or the law says, but I believe from what's been done in the past, the revolving fund is only supposed, you collecting those funds to fund that purpose, and it should only be what you need to collect to fund it. Now, when it gets to have excess, I don't know what goes there, but I'm just saying.
is there a
I think the law says that.
According to her research in this thing, they're already not covering their costs. So creating a revolving fund is
mean,
That's because I think one of the things she does out in there's inspection related purchase services that are not in their budget. So it looks like they have a surplus when they may not in the end, but I wasn't sure about that. I would have asked her about that tonight.
And I don't know, is there, I guess we gotta find out if there's a limit to a revolving fund. And there isn't,
There's a spending limit.
but there's no
not an
cap.
equivalent, correct. So for example, each year, the planning board collects fees. The average amount that they expend each year is about $5,000, but they maintain an average of a $65,000 balance, and it just continues to carry over year after year.
and Safe
Can we-
Place goes up.
Safe Place does the same thing.
You know, they're all, you know,
It's in the, we voted every year at the annual town meeting,
Right,
but
that's-
Right.
what
that's the
those
spending.
are
though.
set at.
But I just wonder if there's a way to cap them.
Well, maybe you cap it by not putting all of the fees into a revolving fund. Maybe we decide which fees, is it a building permit that goes into there versus things that need inspection, separate from, permits for annual inspections go
Anything
into
with
a
a time
revolving-
limit maybe that has to be done, those go in?
But in the end, right, what the reason that folks want the revolving fund is to protect their budget.
I'm not looking at it that.
No.
I'm looking at it as in,
Well, why else would we want to do this then?
I'm trying to say that. And that is because I fear that we are not going to have the resources to be able to do the job that people are paying for permits for. They're not going to have things done on a timely manner, as Karen said, and there's a time limit, there's an expiration, and the assumption is that if it doesn't get completed on time, it's assumed done, right or wrong.
But you literally have to weigh that against whether or not the streets get plowed. Because if all the money stays there for all of the inspection services, then the money's got to get cut elsewhere, and then you're going to be stuck with an extremely long amount of time before the plow comes by, and all of those other services that people expect are going to suffer.
Well, I'm going to.
So that's why the balanced approach to some extent is important, right? You do have to balance where the cuts occur.
So,
But I'm going to say, I'm sorry,
no,
if I
that's
finish
okay.
that. We cannot compare plowing because that's snow and ice and they can deficit spend on that. So if we're going to come up with we've got to come up with something else that's not going to be done.
Or how about manpower at the highway department?
Well,
Yeah.
I think we gotta get the
answer,
law
I wanna
and
know-
get and read it and see what it says. I mean, there used to be people, I remember people sitting around the table, I haven't looked at it because previous times, people knew exactly the ins and outs of those.
So it's listed there, MGL 4453 E&a-half.
Right.
So my question would be, if the inspections don't get done and something happens because the inspection didn't happen like it should have, and something catastrophic happens to that house, and because there wasn't an inspection, can that homeowner come back to the town because that inspection didn't get done?
Sure. Well, I
And
guess
then you open another whole can of worms and liability
Yeah, what was that
issues.
one?
It's
53 and a half.
And I'm not saying that I'm and I think I approached my input into this is, if we were not looking at a potential cut budget and we could fund it, I would say, kick this can down the road till next year. Do more work on
Is there a
it.
dash?
But I'm just saying, if we go to a cut budget, that's my concern.
What's that thing?
But going back to Lynn's question, that anybody, I mean, yes, the answer to your question is yes, anybody can sue for any reason, but
I don't know how.
the way I remember it being explained was the inspection might get done a week later rather than the day that it was requested or something to that effect, but I don't know.
Well,
I don't think we have all the answers there.
All right, so we're gonna have to find some information about 40 feet, 53 and a half, and try to,
53 E&a-half.
yes,
Guess you won't find it in 53.
no.
That's why.
Yeah, I wished that she was there also to ask some questions about the municipal budget growth rate. Because that's another
Yeah.
core item that keeps hosing us in one way or another. And the discussion there is actually
That's the back.
fantastic, right?
That's
But it just starts opening up a can of worms.
Sorry, Ted, what'd you say?
The back page of her memo, pretty much the whole bottom 3/4 of it, is about that MRGF, and I've read it 10 times now, and I still can't really grasp exactly what it says, but it seems to be a pretty relevant argument for why revolving funds may not be in the best interest of general funding, and I'd love to get Heather or somebody that can explain it to me a little better.
Yeah, exactly. I'm completely with you on that. And I know that number is very, very important in determining educational funding.
Well,
So it all kind of hangs together, you know?
I guess the other part of it is we don't have a lot of the revolving funds we have are very targeted. There's only not even a handful.
The Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, we have Safe Place, we have Recreation.
Yep.
Does the ZBA have one?
Yes.
The
We
ZBA,
Yeah, we just did that one, right? Yeah.
yeah, Conservation.
Quite a,
Yeah, it's 5 or 6, it's 5 or 6,
quite a lot of them.
Well,
but yeah.
I think in our role, we would recommend to the people that are gonna pass this, which would be the selectmen, that we are for or against the revolving fund for the planning board or the building inspector, right?
Well, yeah, but nobody said we're gonna do that yet.
No.
And nobody's proposed it yet.
No, that's
It's
what I'm
just been
saying, that would
talked
be
about. Well,
our step, we would be advisory to ask them, right?
But like Ted
Unless
said,
you wanna propose it on the town meeting floor.
no, I think it came up only because of that discussion about the building inspection and electrical and all those, that department's fees. That's why it came up.
And
Yeah,
is there a reason why the fire department doesn't do it, Tommy?
It was asked numerous times, but they just know it has to go, well, not has to, they wanted to go into the general fund to be used for revenue.
and
And
if,
in essence, you're using it for the fire, but it's just going in a circle, what it's doing, rather than holding it separate. There are a lot of towns that hold the fees collected separate, so then when they go to buy a new ambulance or buy something else, that money's sitting there and they use that money. But that puts a big hit on the other side of the operating budget, so.
Darren, if I
that's the big issue here.
just as a heads up, if you were to be interested in pursuing that, it would require a bylaw change. So it would mean going through the bylaw committee to amend the revolving fund bylaw to add a revolving fund.
Okay, so that puts it out for this town meeting, move on. 'Cause
Well,
we
I
won't-
think we gotta
we
get
won't
that
be able to get that
information.
We
done
need
anyway.
the information on,
and like Ted said, if how we don't understand the municipal revenue growth factor, that could, doing a revolving fund for all of those could just bite us in the butt.
Yeah,
I
need to talk to Heather.
I don't think,
I would say focus on what we can change for this town year.
okay. Reserve fund. We did get a email about it, which didn't.
We did get it,
Did we?
I did. I asked the question, I got the email.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I didn't see one.
I went looking last night.
So in this $30,000, that was the difference, kind of would ninkle in the back of my head that something was talked about it. It was approved at special town meeting to add another $30,000 on top of the $60,900. And then add that to the $25,000 that we started with at the annual town meeting. So the $90,900 was correct.
Do we have that somewhere on a piece of paper? Oh, no, it just,
No, it came
Okay.
into an email that I can share with, or print up or put into the share drive, I guess, just, I did ask, I have not heard back, but I did ask if there was a way to back out that $90,900 journal entry and put in two to reflect exactly where those came from. So just for auditing purposes going forward, that it would be there. I haven't heard back if that's possible, but that leaves us with $77,000 in that reserve fund transfer.
How much do we take from the school? 60?
$60,090,
Okay.
900, excuse me, $60,900.
So we're closing in on the end.
Correct.
Yeah, cause the 27 or so for the fact.
That's already out of there, right?
That's already-
That's already out.
So one of the things, and this was one of two sheets that went to special town meeting, or that we worked on for special town meeting. And so it does show the 25,000 to 30,000, but then I was looking at the expenditures for fall, ending the fiscal year 2025. And the reserve fund transfer expenditures for 2025 was $34,996. However, when we got the latest, and this was sent to everybody about a month ago or so, it only says 18,000. So we have a discrepancy about $30,000 where that came from. So,
From
That's
last
an-
year?
yeah. They said we'd spent 18,000, but the paperwork, the ending budget said it was almost 35,000. So I will ask Heather to find out what's going on with that. And then, do you want me to share what I
I was gonna go there, but you,
so at our last meeting, I said that would be happy to reach out to Kate to get clarification on that $30,000 that we were missing. And so Heather got back to me and she explained what was going on, and that was all great. But I do want to share this to the finance committee, because it was directed to me because I was just on the email, but I think it's for everybody. I think Heather asks, I would greatly appreciate if in future questions of this nature could be directed to me rather than to individual department heads. Under the town bylaws, the town administrator is responsible for coordinating the administration of town affairs and serving as a central point of contact for inquiries, information requests, and interdepartmental communication. Routing questions through my office ensures consistent responses, reduces duplication of effort, and allows department heads to remain focused on their operational responsibilities. Please know that I will always make it a priority to provide timely and accurate information, and having communications come through my office helps to do that effectively. So I will, if you want me to continue with this question from 25, I will reach out to Heather and ask for that, but I just want to say that we've been directed not to contact the departments, to funnel everything through Heather.
Isn't that similar to something that Seth had sent out a while
we've
back?
heard that a couple times.
So what you are looking at was a discrepancy in last year's,
Fiscal year 25,
in the accounting of it. Do we think we actually lost the money? Did it?
it's not accounted for
It's not
in
accounted
what,
for, so-
there was only 2 expenditures for 2025 on the year, and I looked at the date. The date was from start of July 24 to the end of June 25, so that's fiscal year 25. Because there was only 2 expenditures for 18, but when we were working on the special town meeting, we asked for the final expenditures, and we got those numbers. It was $34,996, so almost, well, a lot of money.
Didn't we do? During like the spring, summer last year, didn't we make more than those? More than 18,000?
Well, per what we did for the town meeting, we did.
And that may be what it is, and it's not showing up on this. I think it's showing up on.
Can't show up on this year.
It's not, so the ones that we made for legal, it was actually before July 1st, so,
Yeah, that was all for last year.
so it should be on there, but I think it's on this year. So the money may be all there, it's just,
But
Put
you
in
can't
the wrong
cross.
You
can't carry it
you can't-
forward.
exactly, so.
No, you can't
Well,
do
you can
that.
carry it forward in the general fund, right?
Well, that's the thing, but
It
you
would
can't,
float
but
if
if,
by cash.
but if, yeah.
Well, free cash,
Right,
well,
right, yeah.
general fund, well, yeah, I said the wrong. I think
So-
general fund, right? Free cash.
Fund is free cash, right?
If I may, if you, in the SharePoint, it's really great with its search feature. So I wonder if you go to the 2025 minutes folder and just type in reserve fund transfer, you should be able to pull up the minutes to document what you guys approve for reserve funds in FY '25.
Yeah, I get that, I guess it's just, it's not on the final, what is this, the expenditure ledger. So, the ledger history from 25 is not reflecting the same number, so we've gotta find out where those, and I don't think that's up to us.
Well, because we have to get that.
The accountant has to
We need to
change
get that squared away because your town report has that number and
Correct.
not the other.
Correct.
Oh, right there.
And if you go into the actual folder, it should have a search bar at the top. The only reason I mention that is because with Kate being new, it might be helpful if we can provide her with a starting point, because unfortunately,
25 instead of
she's
July.
limited in Vadar to FY '24
25 to
and
26.
newer. And there's definitely been some things that she's had some challenges finding.
Ended June 2025. We're in 2026 now,
Right.
from July 1st is when we start 26.
All right. So I guess, so that was after.
I don't
the
know.
fact.
Report for
I
the-
mean, you can look into the reserve fund transfers,
So
but
it's
I
not
did.
done yet.
I,
We can't give a report for the year that's not done
it
yet.
matched what I
Oh,
found
I
in
know
meeting
now, yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Ding.
That's okay.
So the 18,000 matched what I found in meeting minutes.
Put this
But I
in.
don't think there's anything that we can necessarily settle here.
think-
I just wanted
These
to,
are all showing, so like after July 1st, so that would have been for
This year.
this year. Right?
I think we need clarification on those two documents.
they have to match.
Right, exactly. I think
So-
we need clarification, so
And it's- it
somewhere,
was in 25,
somewhere,
so-
somebody got funds, got figures for that are different from that. And
So I think that, let's, the couple points Carol made that are good, and she got an email from the town administrator. I think that moving forward, I mean, we certainly asked Carol to do this, and that's, she has the finance committee blessing to move forward with this, of course. But we'll go through Heather so that there's no, we don't want any discrepancy or however we want, I don't know the right word at the moment. I'm having a-
as requested, we're going through the town administrator.
as requested,
And
right?
I'll copy you,
Yeah, that's fine.
just because if something happens to my emails, at least somebody else has a.
But it's, I don't have a problem with just, but here's the caveat, if you don't get what you want, it gets elevated. And the only way to elevate that is through the select, that's, but.
I'm not expecting issues, I just,
I don't, no, but.
all right,
Perfect.
so moving on.
Moving on. Discuss proposed budget cuts in depth. Karen had some good points at the last meeting about if she wanted to make sure that when she called 911 at 11 o'clock at night, it was still gonna come, or explain the FTE part of it.
Yeah.
And I guess I haven't seen, we didn't get I'm nervous about that one.
well, for me, I'd like to understand where the fire and the police are the cuts during the day or at night when most of the taxpayers are home. I'd like that answer. And I'd like to know if it's a full-time cut or it's a partial cut of many people.
Yeah, I mean,
And we talked about that, yeah.
Yep.
as I was looking at it, it's kind of, it's hard to tell if they're cutting the, if they're cutting a position, that's easy to go into the budget and saying that's now zeroed. But,
You're talking full-time
reducing
equivalents.
hours, is somebody's hours being reduced to 32 from 40, or is it 35 hours?
They said
And so
FTEs, but what did they really mean?
Is that based on 40 hours?
Darren, yeah, whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
I think the main point here is that I think the town administrator made the cuts to achieve a certain financial goal. But what we would like to do for a couple of reasons is to understand better what the specific cuts would be, because you don't cut a half an FTE. You have to be, there's actual people behind these decisions, and we need the department heads to say, if you're presented with this ask for a cut, what are you going to do? And please be strategic about it for the reasons that Karen mentioned, because we do want to make sure that we have coverage at night, for example. Right? So,
Or we'd
I
like
think
to at least weigh in on that.
Well, I'd like to understand
Yeah,
where the cuts are being
right.
made. And the,
yeah,
and
and I don't think that's Heather's job, right? I don't think
Heather's the
she's
one-
going to say.
Well, she's gotta talk to the department heads.
but the
Yes,
town
exactly. That's my
administrator
point.
made these cuts, not the department heads. The department heads were handed these cuts.
Well, yes, but the department heads should just help implement where these cuts are coming from. Heather's not going to make necessarily the best decisions on how to cut personnel on public safety, right? So I wouldn't want her to be the main decision maker there.
It's just important for everyone to understand that the town administrator made these cuts. It was not the department heads. That's the most important thing, because it was,
But I think one of the positive things is that, unfortunately, and so I don't want to say it's positive all around, but last year, cuts were made to purchase services and supplies and things that couldn't be cut because that's what we ran into trouble with.
Right away.
And unfortunately, but in a direction that is sustainable, and there's no way to put this, but it's FTEs, and
Cool,
like I
'cause I
said,
don't
that's
think
not,
there's any other
not
way to cut,
great,
right?
but, right, we can't cut something that we have to come back in November for and completely fund again at
Right.
$1 million of free
but
cash.
last year, the town administrator was following the rules given to him by the select board, which was do not
Just
cut
do
any
every
staff.
line and don't cut
any
staff,
staff.
don't cut any staff, right?
So the way I would think it would work is that the select board has asked the town administrator to prepare a cut budget. She has figured out if it's going to go across the board, here's the equivalent full-time positions that would need to be cut. And I would say that information now goes to the department heads for like, okay, this is how I would implement your direction, town administrator. And that's the information that we need to know now.
But
Or that's what we're asking for, because I think those decisions make the cuts seem a little bit less abstract, which I think is a very important point Karen keeps bringing up, and I think it is important, right? What will this do? It's not an FTE. It's a stinking, it's a firefighter. It's an EMT. It's somebody that's plowing your road. It is not an FTE. And I think making those things real and making people understand that is the alternative is important.
I don't think this is just Darren, I don't think there's any room in anywhere else in anyone's budget except FTEs or people, however we wanna say that word.
Positions.
It's
Positions.
positions.
They're not,
It's
we have to
positions.
start, they're not people. I understand, but to make the decisions, it's positions.
Okay,
So,
Right, but
Because it's not
positions is
pers-
abstract, right?
Because,
And
but
so
it's
we
not
need to.
personal, right?
Well, no, it's not personal, but
Right?
you have to make it relatable for the taxpayer, right? This is not an FTE to make this happen. This is an actual firefighter that we're not going to have anymore. That's not going to be available for you. That's it. And we need to make that crystal.
that is a position, not a
It's a
person.
position, it's not, because it's not personal.
Right, so
if we feel we need that information, we just need to write a memo to Heather and say,
That's what.
what are the positions that are going to be cut?
Yeah, Tamika's writing down the
Yes.
notes to ask her
Yeah.
the
yeah,
question.
instead of, so you're,
Yes.
I think what you're saying, Ludwig, instead of calling it FTEs, say, we're gonna lose 2 EMTs, 2 police officers, to specify those particular positions.
Right. And furthermore, I would say, like, you're going to lose overnight coverage, to Karen's point. For example, if the chief in charge were to make that call, right, you're going to lose, where are those coming from? All of that to make it as, as
Specific.
clear as possible what the alternative here is.
And Seth has numbers to back up what are the most popular time for calls.
Yes.
He could tell us, right? You could probably tell us.
And I'm sure
And
the
we
police
wa-
officer can tell us.
I'm sure, but that's
police
what we
chief.
need to know.
But that's the thing, I'd like to know where the cuts are being made because we also,
And I'd like to know how that relates to is it one full person off a shift? Is it,
right,
Hours.
right. Because we also know that, if we only have one person on first shift, a police officer, and it's at night, it causes
well, the CBAs,
all that
I
stuff.
don't know if they can be, I don't know how that works. We'd have to look into that.
Right, but that's why I'm asking that question of Heather so that way we have it.
Okay. Any more discussion about that one? Because I think that's an excellent point.
Is, the thinking that would then end up as part of the material that is shared with the townspeople about the impact of the override? That would be part of the rationale, yes?
I would think so, you'd have
I
to.
think it would be a great way to get that message out there. Unfortunately, it's very concise and to the point, but I think that's what we need to do. And going a little off topic here, but on the same thread, Holden's they've got 2 proposals. They wanted to fund the big override, and then they said the other night that they're gonna fund a smaller override, a $5 million or a $5.5 million, and still cut positions. So, which is that's a whole different.
So the 5 million they're asking for doesn't get them to where they need to be.
No, it's like 8 gets them to where they need to be, but 5 gets somebody down there comfortable. And then they're gonna cut some positions from police, fire, and DPW, or I don't know how they're gonna decide that, but which is another interesting way. And the good thing is, I think we've talked to everybody that is making these decisions not to use free cash, so to do this, and they can't come back at the 11th hour on May 7th this year and say, we need to use $1 million of free cash, because that's just not gonna work.
Or November of next year.
Right. Is there any more discussions about the budget? I mean, we got Wachusett coming, and Bay Path, one's on the 12th and one's on the 19th. Bay Path is the 12th and the 19th is Wachusett, and then one of the other things last night and it's all part of the same discussion, is dates and times that the Charter Commission, they had some dates in there that were very firm about when things had to happen. And after some discussion last night, we just said we should look at those dates and back into them versus we don't wanna put dates there that we're gonna live with for 5 years. 'Cause
10 after 5.
it is 5 to 10, right? So,
And it takes a special act to change them.
alright. And Tommy's point brought last night, on the same budget discussion was, if we do that, we don't even have the Wachusett stuff till after those dates, so
I'm a proponent of what I said last night, is to take anything dated out of, that's what you've got the bylaws for. And it should be high enough level that like I said, it's a cement. The first one's gonna be cemented for 5 years, and then a special act if you wanna change anything, and then that's for 10
the
years.
only one I would say would be the start and the end date.
But
That, well, you
But what
need,
if that
we know
does
with the town
change?
meeting, that's the end date, right? But the start date, I think we wanna get the town administrator going for that first date, I think. And in between is tough for me. I think there's we'll see what they come back with for things.
But
and then we can-
what would be the harm of having a strong bylaw? That has to, still would have to be changed, and it's not an easy thing to do.
And didn't we get an email today that said that the bylaw was, that the charter was complete?
Yes.
Well, it did say that we could provide feedback, so I wonder if we want to make some pointed feedback that, of course, I actually didn't look at the draft that came out today to see if after we met last night, they may have
changed it.
changed
I didn't look
that, but, I would think that we might want to make that, because part of what they said was that the charter by design is very vague, yet those dates are actually more specific than any bylaw we have.
Exactly.
Tamika, are you aware that there were any changes to dates?
Didn't believe so.
Did they talk to Heather about it?
6?
Section
I thought she was gonna give them some input.
7.2.
So we received a copy of this via email last night and were asked to disperse it. The intention is they're gonna meet with the select board on March 30th to discuss the public feedback and any proposed changes. So I would say there's certainly still time for the finance committee to provide.
And Heather to help us with the dates that she was gonna work back and get us some answers, so,
Yep.
okay.
I'm with Carol. We remove the dates, because the minute you leave a date, just because Heather says those dates are gonna work, we've had town administrators, previous town administrators, start as early as September 15th with the budget. And we've worked right up till the Thursday before the town meeting to
So-
get the budget, so
So I like the start date part of it.
But by the first Monday of February, the town administrator shall submit the budget for the next, to the finance committee?
We'd actually like it
February.
earlier than that.
February- February.
Without the school
By the
information.
first Monday in February, we wouldn't even maybe see the budget by the way this is written.
You would that way.
By the first Monday in February, the town administrator shall submit the budget for the next fiscal year to the finance committee for review and recommendation.
So we would see it by then. You wanna be earlier?
Then February?
Yeah, but how early do we wanna go? We didn't see it till much, well, we did,
It's
oh,
not
we saw
true,
it a
it's
month ago.
February, it's February 26th
Yeah,
that
oh,
we've
that's right, we
done.
were done in we saw
So,
that.
I mean, I guess I would not be opposed to extracting this wording and putting it into what we're asking for bylaw changes.
What number is that you're looking at?
It's so 7.2-ish. The pages aren't numbered.
Article,
It was the one
Article-
right after the finance committee was
Seven,
on financial policy.
seven.
financial procedure, okay,
Article
all right.
7.
Yeah, financial procedures.
So,
I'm,
let's,
Yeah, because according to this, we're supposed to return the budget with the finance committee recommendations by the first Monday in March to the town administrator. We don't even have the school numbers. There's no way.
And we've had everything for a month, and how do you meet with the departments in that time and deliberate?
Oh, it's easy, don't worry about it.
I just,
And not to be a doubting Thomas, but even though it's written, you might have a town administrator down the road that just doesn't do it. Then what happens?
well, but that's, I mean, I guess that's the bylaws too, and I, you know, thinking about it last night after the meeting is not only can you not add to it, but you can't take away from it either, right? So it's, I'm looking at these as they're cemented. There's no giving and taking out and changing, but yet if a bylaw has
So I think
the
that,
details.
I think there was last night, some understanding of what we meant about the dates, because they had some questions and some confusion.
They're still
And they
there.
also, even though this got sent out, we still have time to modify this, right? So
Yeah.
let's,
We still have time to give them public comment.
Correct, we don't have a say in this. We can only ask for what we think is.
Put our opinion down and.
they said
Right.
last night they were gonna work this backwards.
And that's fine. All I'm saying is that we don't have the right to make the change. They have
No,
to make the change.
yeah, they're the only ones that have the right to make the change. All
So
right.
then again, why didn't they make the why did they just submit it today without making the change or asking?
Cannot answer that question. Though I understand that question, I cannot answer that question. Does anyone have anything else?
So
Sir.
just to get back to that, how are we gonna get them this information?
In the email, there was a place to hit answer or there was something. Yeah, there was something in there. So I guess, do all of us do it individually or do we do it all
Yeah,
together?
that's kind of what I was.
I think we should do it all together, and I think we should have,
From the FinCom?
yes,
Maybe we could do a markup and then those could be merged. By maybe Tamika. Or someone.
so we have the next Friday, next Thursday, the 5th. If we can spend some time between now and the 5th to have everybody, we can boil this down on next Thursday, and we could send a formal email with our suggestions. Does that work for everybody? And I don't think it's gonna be a long meeting either. Hopefully,
So I just, the other part that
let's have that discussion next Thursday.
Okay.
But unless it's directly related to budget,
okay, this isn't, but if.
let's have a
Highlighted
good,
section, and I think people should look at that
okay.
under finance.
Put that on the agenda for next Thursday. Thank you. Does anyone have any other things that we,
No one else is gonna ask any questions on this budget.
I noticed in the landmark today that the Holden Finance Committee put in an article that came from them about kind of the state of finances down there. I have no idea if they were asked to do that or if they took the initiative to do that. In the kind of the promotional plan about getting out information for the override, we have not been asked, I don't think directly, to take a big role in that. Do we, anybody feel strongly differently that we should be doing more, we should be doing what we're asked, we should take some more initiative, or does it look like a good plan?
I think we would have to change change the plan? Because as far as, I didn't read in detail, but it looked like the select board and the town administrator were doing all of these information sessions.
And that's the posting that went out today.
That's when it went out.
I do believe that Heather is meeting with the landmark also, but we could, dare I say, we could work together on a letter to the editor.
Wachusett Free Press is another option too, and that goes to every resident and business in town for free. So you may get more people to see it than
was-
you would the landmark.
Actually with someone that writes for them at a function prior to coming here, and they actually made that comment. They said, if you got any information, make sure we get it. So I'm pretty sure Heather or Leah or somebody mentioned recently in a meeting that they were gonna reach out to them, but I just didn't know if, we as a group felt that we needed to do more or less, was what we were asked. Did we wanna take any initiative to do anything additionally? I'm not really in favor of either way. I just want to throw it out there.
Well, even if Heather is meeting with people, I suppose it doesn't hurt to have more than one organization part of the town get information out there.
And I wouldn't want to do anything without running it by her and saying, do you think this would be helpful? But I guess one of the things I'm wondering at is, one finance committee from another town is doing it. Do we feel strongly one way or the other that
I didn't look
something
at the
we ought
one
to do or
that,
not?
I didn't see the whole article
No, I just sent you a little
front
snippet of
page,
it.
but it started to get interesting. Was the second page any?
I mean, it was just outlining, facts that they have, that if we don't do this, certain things might happen. And there's also some of, why are we in this place and what budgets are going up by what percent and that sort of thing. And it wasn't, you need to do this or you need to do that. It was purely informational is the way I read it, but.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I just hope no one gets the impression that we're overstepping our bounds.
I guess that's a good way of putting what I was sort of just asking out loud, yeah.
How do you feel, Karen, about it?
We haven't voted that we're going to approve, recommend favorably or unfavorably on this budget, because we haven't seen the final numbers yet. So I think all of this is all speculative at this point. I mean, we just found out that Wachusett Earth Day has gone up. We found out that DPW went up. The budget that we currently have sitting in our hands is
It's
already
not. Yeah.
skewed. So I think we have to wait until at such time that we feel that
And they are a lot more closer to their vote, right? Isn't their vote any day now? On their override?
no,
No.
They put that off.
They put
They
it
were
off.
gonna do it in February, but they put
They
it off.
pushed it off.
yeah, because they have this MBTA. No, that's the MBTA.
Okay.
So what we could do though is we could speak in favor of an override.
I think.
Right, I'm just making a suggestion. Karen's
Okay.
right. We don't have, but I think that by the time we have the final number, I feel like people's opinions may have already been formed and we're losing influence at that point. So what we know now is that, and the select board has said, we're all on the same page about this. Let's speak in favor of, and what has gotten us to the point where we would like, where we're all in favor of the path of an override.
Well, I think we gotta phrase it just a little differently.
Okay.
To be, and this is just me. I'm not saying we are or we aren't in favor of an override. I think we have to phrase it or frame it that if we don't pass an override, you, the taxpayers, do not pass an
Sure.
override, then it's that.
Here's-
I don't think we necessarily wanna, we've
Fair
been down
enough.
that road that, and it was I got beat up.
You could say, you
Karen,
could write
Tommy,
something that
Ken.
says,
Yes,
Well, I think when we helped pass the last one, it wasn't telling them that we're in favor of it. It was, here's what you'll lose if you don't do it. And it was
but I
putting
agree
it
with,
in their
I
hands.
agree with Ludwig, we gotta get out and say it, but we gotta say it from the transparency. We can't say
Right.
we are in
So-
favor of, cause there may be people on this finance committee that aren't in favor of an override. And for
Okay.
whatever their reasons are, and that's, and
Understand. So you would say, here's the reasons why an override is being proposed, and here's what would happen if it doesn't pass.
yes.
And that way it's objective. I think that's what you're trying to
It's
maintain.
objective and it's clear, we don't have an opinion. We're just giving you facts.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're
understood.
gonna, because as we,
Without an override.
yes, and then as we go,
Exactly.
And that's.
But we have to wait until those numbers are kind of finalized, which some of them were very much in flux.
and we also, Ludwig, we're gonna be able to, we make a recommendation at the town meeting. And we are still gonna make a recommendation at the town meeting on the different budgets and the different articles. So if we think that the school budget is too much, we can vote it down for $10 and recommend it, which would vote it down. We can make that recommendation and attack, and we can tell them why. But I don't know this, it'd be important to me that the way the articles are written this year, that we have, if the override question doesn't pass, there are things that we should do with the rest of the, but I don't know how would that work, Karen? Because it's not necessarily a vote on the override, it's a vote on a budget.
Correct.
To vote on the budget, and if the budget override does not pass, then it goes defaults to the line. And we've done this plenty of years.
Right.
I think more years than not.
The budget had the two columns. If this is the
Yep.
the balanced
If
budget
the
with the
override
override.
passes, this is where we are. If not, here's where you're going.
Here's the other one. You gotta have that ready, because that's what you gotta do.
Because if you don't do it, then you need to do another town meeting.
Right.
And it's the only way you're going to sell the override is by telling people what they're going to lose. Not that we haven't been saying
it's-
it from the tops of our lungs since, this time last year.
And if the override doesn't pass, follow this logic, I may be way crazy, but follow this. We are still, there are going to be more cuts to the town. If the school, how do I wanna say it? 'Cause
School budget stays whole, is I think what you want to say.
yes, the school budget
School
stays
budget
whole,
stays
there's a
whole,
bigger
which means that
there's a
this-
bigger
this is
implication to the,
To the
Useless.
town.
right, to the town.
Right.
Correct.
Because I think the cut budget had a change in the discretionary. So if that doesn't pass, then we have to take that from somewhere else.
Right, so there's a lot in play with this part it's scary to me.
And that's the whole thing, by trying to get this finalized by the first week in March. You're playing with these numbers, especially I'm sorry, we've been there right up till the
Oh,
Thursday
we've been
before.
doing, I
The
can remember you
Thursday
with
night
this.
before.
That's when we had no help from the town administrator, but that's neither here nor there.
Right, but still, we've gone even with town administrators right up to like 2 weeks before.
So if I forget it, guys, when we get close to this, we gotta remember that I don't know how, and we have some information about the DESI stuff, but what we can do there from town council, and that's an important piece of this whole puzzle. But I think we have to,
Quickly, though, because the articles and all that needs to be, do they open the warrant next week?
Yeah, so we'll have a
6
placeholder
weeks.
article, but then we would have to have those final numbers before we approve the final warrant.
In that 6 weeks, I think I heard that was it open for 6 weeks?
Oh, the warrant's only open for 2.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
Yes.
2
I think
weeks,
we
but
have
then they,
6
but there's
weeks before we
placeholders.
finalize.
No, but
Okay, okay.
you don't,
We don't need the numbers in 2
But we want to
weeks.
make sure that
We don't need
we
the-
worded it.
yes.
So we-
The
well,
wording is correct, the monies don't have to be decided quite yet.
Because even if we don't have that for the warrant, the dollar amount can go in the motion document, and that
Exactly.
we do right before town
Right,
meeting.
because that's gonna be where you're gonna make your decisions, because we won't have, when is insurance coming in? Do we know?
Nick still hasn't heard from them. He
Right,
reached
so
out
I
this
mean, we're
week.
still waiting for the school and insurance can really sway.
They have to have some idea, rough
I'm in
idea.
Well-
agreement, but
The really scary thing, honestly, last night was that the largest union has current negotiations going on with the district. Right, the teachers' union negotiations are going on.
they had
as far as
teachers,
I know, right?
custodians, aides.
It's like
Every-
85% of their budget. It's hinging on
Everybody was
ongoing
in
negotiations.
this year.
So,
we have years like
it's
that
like,
now.
but no,
Not in a good
even
way.
the final number isn't going to be final.
Yeah, but they have to live with the final number, it is what it is.
They do have to live with the
They have
final
to live
number,
with
but
it.
that's, yeah.
He did say they were closing in on it, but don't know.
That's good,
Yeah.
but we might not be getting, like the excess and deficiency stuff discussion may get dipped into.
So then we have to come up with a strategy, what we're gonna do on the town meeting floor. And we gotta start thinking of those numbers if we're gonna, and I think that we have to have that discussion with the selectmen for a lot of reasons, and they may not agree with us, they may disagree with us, but we have to make our recommendation or amend that number by $10 and see where it goes. And it may get shot down, right, but
Well, I guess to Ludwig, to your question about what do we do as a finance committee, I mean, if we stay in our own lane, which is what I just thought about, we have given our thoughts and our ideas and our advice after we get some maybe more facts and figures, and then it's not our budget anymore, right? It's the select board's and the TA's budget.
But we bring it to
So-
town meeting, right?
No,
Well, under the
town
current
is-
bylaw,
Yeah,
they're supposed to do the budget and then give it to us, and we're supposed to present it at town meeting.
but do we have buy-in from that?
I'm just saying.
I think it's,
I
I'm
get
with
it,
you
I get it,
110%.
but I guess they didn't do that, they haven't done that in a couple of years at least, so.
I think it's very important that we make a presentation at, I remember right after I joined, we talked about what Holden did where they actually explained the whole budget before the whole thing even started. I think something like that would be very, very useful in our predicament.
Before we start having all of these discussions, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep going back to, we gotta have firm numbers, and we don't have firm numbers.
we're
Sure,
not-
but we can
we're not-
plan to make a presentation. I
Yes.
guess that's
Yeah.
Darren's point.
We're very much in flux right now.
And unfortunately, we're gonna be in flux right up to the last minute. Again, because the insurance and contracts and things like that are gonna bite us. But I think we have some questions that Heather can answer about positions and what the FTEs relate to the positions and how that's gonna work out, and we can go from there.
And the only other question that I have is I would like to understand that we're paying these people, so there will be some positions that are still, because they're contracted, will still be working 40 hours a week. But the town hall will only be open 16 hours a week. Will they answer phone calls from townsfolk? Will they answer emails from townsfolk?
I think I agree with you, but I think those are questions we gotta get in a meeting with the selectmen.
Well, that's what I'm asking her to ask Heather.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking it, because that's the questions that I'm getting. Well, will they answer emails? You know, what happens if, you know, you're selling a house and you need a water and sewer lien release, and it can't wait till the next 16 hours because you gotta have that last read and get it all done.
Right, so what's the operational plan with the cut budget?
Right, that's the
Right.
thing.
And I personally think that if they're there, they should be available. That's Darren.
I'm in
I agree.
agreement.
But
We got an email from Heather this week. I did watch the last part of last Thursday's meeting. I understand you have additional questions. She gave us her to-do list, which Ludwig had asked her to do. It said legal services, Board of Health Administration, Public Works. I can't remember what our other questions might have been, although you just asked one of them.
Then the only other question I thought that was missing from there is we did ask what the minimum, what we're required to do with cable, not what they want to do, what's required.
Do you mean like by law, what's required by law?
Pretty much. Yeah, because it was, well, we want to do this, we want to do
oh,
this, we want to do
the
this.
public outreach, the channels and
Right,
stuff like that. What is, Tommy asked that question. We all supported that.
What is the minimum?
Right.
We haven't heard the.
Well, we did hear at that meeting that they admitted there was no minimum. There is no specific requirement for any special
It
meetings
was-
or whatever.
And they said it was the select board's, how they word it.
Oh, it's a select board's policy
Yes,
as to
it's a
who
policy.
gets, but
Oh,
running
that's
the,
right.
but running the channel and the
Right.
expenses and the this and the that, because
Right, so
that
we-
was a
yeah.
question somebody asked, and I don't believe we got that answer.
So where's that policy?
Do you think that,
But, oh, I know. Just speaking of that, I had asked you guys, I think the other night, you said we got a memo or an email, I should say, that said the PEG funds, how much was there and what was spent and that up. But I went looking yesterday for it. I couldn't find anything on an email
Is that in our shared?
that had the whole report.
Shared drive?
I was gonna ask, is the questions that we're asking about cable gonna be part of the public hearing?
They can be if you'd like them to be.
Just wondering if it might be it's part of the information, so maybe that's,
But I don't want to have to go to that meeting to get these answers.
no, but they could use, they could
I agree,
use the
they could use them in
answers
both, but
I'll ask it regardless, but you could always ask at the meeting too, if somebody was so inclined.
Do you know what that PEG document is called?
I think it was called PEG. I think I put it in the FY 27 budget folder.
That's where I am.
I'm gonna say it for the remainder of the year, if you could send out those things via email.
You still can't get in?
No, and I'm giving up.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'm not spending any more of my time
I get it.
trying to figure it out.
There are other things this week on your mind.
Well, no, it's just
No,
that
but this
I've
week
been
is-
trying, but I've been trying for a while now, and it just, and I'm like, yeah, forget it.
You green light on this week?
Is it FY 27 WEI planning final?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think that was it, but yeah, right.
I know we had it, and it's very possible that I forgot to upload it. I do know that we have it, so I can check and see if I have re-uploaded essentially.
I don't remember seeing the email.
Okay.
But that could have gotten lost somewhere.
It's not in, it didn't go to spam. I looked through that the other, that's what I go to when I don't see an email from D'Amico.
I looked at all my stuff trying to find it.
I
I couldn't
searched
find
my
it.
email for PEG and nothing came through when I looked.
Okay, I'll double check on that.
Does anyone on the finance committee have any other issues related to budget discussion? Or anything of any of the other
Can you guys just
discussions?
clarify what specifically you would like on the March 5th agenda outside of the charter discussion?
Budget discussion. Just leave it open.
Just leave the open-ended?
That's just my 2 cents worth, because you know something will come up.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And that's next Thursday, everybody?
Okay.
Are we asking for Heather to attend?
I would love to have Heather attend. She had another meeting tonight that I asked her about, that she's on a commission or a board up there and where her hometown is, and she couldn't miss it, so
So what's the next date you just said?
the 5th, next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
We're meeting
Okay,
the 26th as well. That was supposed to be just a general budget discussion from the original.
No, the beginning of the, yeah,
Is-
because we'll have all our numbers then,
March 26th.
right? Huh.
I'm in Florida.
Because I think there's 2 people in Florida.
I was thinking about it myself.
I asked Ted if he wanted to be the guy on the shore that he threw the boat line to when he was tying up to the dock, and he said he had a bunch of offers for that, and I would.
Are we having a finance committee meeting in Florida next week? Is that what it is?
I've already made that
I'm in.
suggestion.
I'm in
the
Florida too.
26th.
Where are we meeting?
I'm in Naples then, but okay.
I'll take a
right,
motion
me
to
too.
adjourn from the floor if anybody has, yes, sir.
on the, for the March 5th meeting, can we also just put a line in there about talking about the charter thing we talked about last night? We're gonna do that, right?
Yes.
Yep, I already have that.
Because we didn't have it on for tonight, so we can have it on for next time.
And our recommendations for how we're gonna shape that piece.
Well, there's some,
Yes.
well, I say discrepancies, but we just talked a little bit
Yes.
tonight about timeframes that we would be held to, but
And that's related to the budget. Anything else, anybody? This is now all.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
We gotta do roll call because he's here.
Oh.
Sorry.
Nice
my bad.
job, thanks.
Haber, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Narwhal, aye.
Michelle, I.
Benoit, I.
Ross, aye. Thank you very much for joining.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You as well.